It is a fascinating verdict because it is a tale of two cases. It is a tale of a case concerning violence and a lack of consent, where the defendant was found not guilty. Where he was found to have been guilty are really with those charges where it doesn't matter whether or not the victim consented or did not consent because of her age, what we would call statutory rape, or charges of that ilk where consent, it could have been her idea. She could have wanted it completely and entirely, but she's not capable of consenting. So that's the way that the verdict comes down, a very reasonable verdict, but it almost begs the question as to why this case was not resolved before a trial, because consent was not an issue. And for the defendant to have stood firm on this notion of we never had sex in the face of the evidence that clearly indicated, even by his own mouth, that they did, and the fact that she went for the morning after pill, which would be indicative of the fact that they had sex, it really, to me, is a very reasonable, a very fair verdict, and probably more or less what actually happened.
Can you go over that again, though, Randy? Because I think for our viewers, it's confusing when you hear the notion of these not guilty verdicts on these other counts, the aggravated felonious sexual assault accounts, and then when you hear the description when it comes to these Class A misdemeanors of the actual crime, the jury says Owen Labrie was guilty of committing. It sounds almost similar for some people.
Well, the difference is, if I understood the verdicts, and I'm doing this by telephone, but my understanding of the verdicts is he was found not guilty on those counts where you have forcible compulsion, where you have force. He was found to be not guilty on those counts that go strictly to her age and his age, her being underage, which means she was incapable of consenting to the sex, what we would call statutory rape. It does not matter. Consent, because of your age, the law says you, young lady, are not capable of consenting to this sex, and therefore it is a crime.